Good morning, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the session so far today. Welcome to How to Scale Your New Business in 2021. Hope everything's going well this morning, and hopefully next time this is going on, it's in person once Boris releases us. I'm going to jump straight into the session. So, Louise, if you want to put my deck on full screen, I'll get straight into it and how we're going to help you guys scale your new business. Perfect. So welcome to the session, guys. I'm Josh. Just a little bit about me. I'm head of sales at SourceBreaker. I've been here around 4.5 years. We actually hit our 5-year milestone quite recently, which is really, really cool. And the aim of my job is to obviously support customers as they come on board and make sure it's the right choice for those guys. A little bit about SourceBreaker before I jump in. So we are an AI search and match technology. We have 4 core products that we sell. One is an intelligent candidate sourcing module, which allows recruiters to essentially find much better quality candidates across the CRM, job boards, places like LinkedIn. And then we also have a module that allows you guys to win new business. And I guess that's where the majority of the talk will be focused today. We also have an automation and an intelligence suite as well to help better inform you guys when you're approaching businesses, and also to automate candidate sourcing and to automate business development as well, which again is what we'll cover today. So we're the fastest growing recruitment company and recruitment technology in Europe, and that's according to the Financial Times Fast Growing 1,000 Businesses. We've been there for a couple of years. And the companies we work with all around the globe, I think it's about 550 clients now, and they really range from the multinationals like your Hays and your Harvey Nashes, all the way down to the likes of your one-man businesses who are really looking to maximize every second of the day. If you're running a business and trying to recruit, every second counts, and we really help maximize the time for those businesses. So here, what we're talking about today is how to scale your new business in 2021. So I'm going to focus on 2 core elements. One is trigger events and how to look out for them, and the other one is a new business methodology that we've been developing with our clients over the last 12 to 18 months. So first of all, let's dig into trigger events. So what is a trigger event? So this could be a reason to call. So for you guys, it's any reason to pick up the phone and call someone. It's a piece of data that separates the business from the noise. And ideally what we're looking for is something that's actually going to create an opportunity to generate new business and make a sale. So a couple of questions I just wanted to throw out there before I really jumped into the presentation is I wanted to ask the audience, what trigger events are you currently looking out for? So, this could be, new starters within an organization. This could be new execs, new heads of departments that you track and then approach the businesses about. It could be about restructuring when people have changed, especially during COVID, what teams look like aftermath. And if they've opened offices. So just have a quick think about the businesses that are in your database currently and the little bits of information that you're currently tracking or you're looking for. The second question is, how many of you are actually looking at funding data as a trigger event? It's a really, it's a new, very, very hyped piece of information, and it'd be good to know from the audience today, which people are currently looking at that as a piece of information to use as a trigger point. I'm going to delve further into this now. So let's get my screen going. There we go. So what is funding data? So funding data is something that we as a business have actually been looking at in depth over the last 18 months. And it's also now a big feature within our platform. And what it gives you guys as a recruiter is the information that the company has taken a new round of investment. So this could be anything from the ones you see in the paper, like Spotify listing on the stock exchange, or the hundreds of millions of businesses like Monzo have taken. Now these are really sensationalized pieces of funding that newspaper-esque as I've mentioned. But what the key thing here is that what you're getting is that these guys are taking this investment, and what it does for a recruiter is it answers a very key question. And the question is that, can this business actually afford to utilize my specialist services? And if they've taken these fundings, the answer is yes. But obviously we've said that, that there's some big fundings out there and everything else. But what we can do is then approach these businesses, with the knowledge that they have the budgets to be hiring. And also what comes with this kind of data is headcount goals as well. So we know that they're going to be looking to scale. One thing that happens with recruiters a lot of the time is they'll ring businesses and give them, a call every day of the week. And one day they'll answer the phone and they'll say, your services sound great. It sounds amazing what you could do for us. But it's unfortunate that we don't have the budget to utilize your services, and they'll have to hire directly. So funding immediately gets rid of that barrier to entry for you guys. So looking at funding, I want to look at the different levels of funding. So if I come through here, these are the different types of funding that we'll go through today. So as I say, you can see on the screen here, there's the newspaper headline-esque funding, but in reality, this goes all the way back to the pre-seed rounds of investment, right at the start of a company's journey. Now, this typically is when a company is just getting going, and it's sometimes referred to as the friends and family stage. Founders of businesses are normally beg, borrowing, stealing from friends and family in order to get these businesses up and running. The thing is, for a recruiter, if you can actually contact the businesses at this stage and identify them, you can actually build relationships directly with the founders of the business. So not just the hiring managers, not just the management team, but the actual founders, when you can partner with them from the very start. So it's a great time to give them a call. The next round of funding would be the Series A. So this is, again, where we can actually still have a relationship with the founders of the business. They're still really, really small. They're in their infancy in many respects. And, a typical valuation of these types of businesses is within around 10 and 15 mil. So the founders will actually still be involved with the hiring process. So it presents a really good opportunity for you guys to build that relationship. Headcount wise, you're probably looking at anywhere between 25 to 60. But this is the next stage for you guys. This is where they're now building out the rest of the business. And instead of it just being roles that you're specialized in, for an example of this, you could be a tech recruiter looking at a software house taking funding. And so right at the start that they'll be looking for developers, QAs, data scientists, but they may not need those ancillary departments around that time. But when we get to Series A, that's when these companies start to get bigger. So even though they're a software house, they'll be looking for heads of finance, marketing, sales. So you as a business can look at all the different areas that they're growing for. Okay. Then that moves us nicely onto Series B. So this is when the business is getting bigger again. So Series A, you're looking at all the heads of departments and the core hires, the first marketing manager, etc. Whereas the Series B is actually looking at growing out those teams. These businesses, they're typically valued around 30 to 60 mil. And they're looking now to actually grow out that entire marketing team, as a clue at this stage. So looking at this as a trigger event for a recruiter, start thinking about and analyzing what you do as a recruiter and start picking the rounds that are most relevant to you. The last area on the funding is moving on to the C's, the D's, the E's, even the F rounds, when businesses are typically looking to go big. So again, this is the type of funding I was talking about earlier, you know, the sensationalized funding rounds of the big tech unicorns, which is absolutely great, and you definitely want to be pitching into the businesses, but they may have already got, you know, or started to formulate, you know, having a PSL, having existing recruitment partners. But one of the things you can do here, and a really good tip, is to actually start looking at the businesses that are taking this level of investment in the US, in Europe, in APAC. Because typically, when they're taking these rounds of investments, and they're normally typically very large, they'll actually be looking to open up markets and land in the UK and start to grow out the different places in the different countries. Now, if you find a trigger event like this, you'll typically be building the relationships again with the UK MD. So it starts to become more akin to a pre-seed round of investment where you've got a relationship directly with the person who's in charge of everything, and you can help them, therefore, build out all of those teams in a new location. So that's the types of funding. Another trigger event I wanted to go through today, and I think I mentioned it actually at the start, is actually new senior executives or C-level people joining businesses. So I guess, you know, why is this relevant for a recruiter? Well, normally anybody coming in at this level tries to make their mark, and they try and mold their team. You know, a different leader can change the model. So this, what we call flux, is really, really great for recruitment, as it actually creates some change, which we can assist with and help them build the new teams around them. The next thing I'm going to bring you through to, and the second part of the talk today, is all around the methodology that we're developing. Now, we have been speaking with tons of clients that we work with over the last 18 months, and we've been developing this, and it's called hot, warm, cold. You know, I think one of the key things that we saw was when we were talking with businesses, they were placing a lot of emphasis on what we call like the holy grail of winning new businesses, which is, you know, the cold element, where you're, you know, finding businesses that you've never spoken to before and winning business off them. And I think one of the issues is that sometimes we do get too caught up with that kind of net new business, because in reality, new business is just making more placements. So you can make them from any type of business. And then we're going to break that down today into the different types, rather than just starting with that cold net new business. So let's start with the hot prospects. These are typically, you know, clients that you've placed with in the last 18 months, and looking at businesses that you can work with again. Okay, so making sure in the first instance that you're actually checking all of those organizations on their websites, on their LinkedIn, for any roles that they're posting. You know, do they have live roles within your department, or potentially are there other departments that they're hiring in right now that you can assist with? You know, what I would also be doing, since you do have a relationship with these businesses, is I will be speaking with the hiring managers that you've placed with before and starting to understand their hiring plans going forward. Many recruiters, you know, get caught up with the here and now and actually just don't ask the pertinent question, what are you looking for in 6 to 9 months' time? As if we start to work with this data now, we can start to actually pre-plan and understand the trends, and then also have a steady flow of business. What it's also good to understand is, again, are they hiring in any other parts of their business? You know, you might want to jump into a new market, or you might have other departments which you can sell services into. One thing that we actually do really, really well as well, and something that that we've tried to solve through automation, is businesses that work within a silo. And what I mean by that is that, let's just say you're working with a business in the tech department, yeah. you might have another division, a finance recruitment division, that's only working with their clients in the finance department. And they might have 10 clients each, but there's no actual crossover. So what we want to try and do is look within all the existing clients that we have and see if they're actually recruiting for roles that other people can fill within our business. And from your point of view as business leaders, it's all about how do I knit this all together and then join the dots for the recruiters so that you actually start winning new business as a team rather than an individual recruiter winning individual jobs. The next section I'm going to move on to is the warm prospects. So, the hot prospects, these are people that you've got relationships with, and they've got, easy access. The warm prospects, again, are people that you have relationships with. And actually, this is an area where you can have some really big potential wins. So these are typically clients that you've had actions with in the last 12 to 18 months. So actions, they can be, you've had a meeting with these guys, you've had candidates at interview, you may have even had candidates offered, but they're not accept. So, it's not you not making a placement. We know that in general, that it's not always down to the service of the offer, but down to the candidate not taking the job is filled internally, etc., etc. There's so many reasons why that doesn't go through. But if you actually now sit down and do some analysis on this, there'll be a huge pool of companies that you already have on your database that you can actually pull a report from, and you've already got a foot in the door with all of these businesses. They know who you are. They know your brand, and there is some level of relationship there. And you probably even got their contact information, mobile numbers to get through to those hard to reach hiring managers. So what I would definitely be doing as a business is running a report on this. And a tip and something we found out from the most successful businesses that do this and who have implemented this methodology is that they have had a person within the business whose responsibility that is. So don't let the recruiters do the legwork. Maybe it's someone in operations, maybe it's yourself taking this on as a project, but not allowing the recruiters having to do this as part of the process, going away, getting the information, mapping the data, and then getting the recruiters to attack it, and then rolling that out business wide. So yeah, if you can get a list of those people, then I'd map out who is hiring right now, and then what they're hiring for as well. What I would also do, and something that, again, sometimes slipped through the net, is then cross-reference the data that you've got from who's hiring now with their previous hiring patterns as well. So, they might have, some roles live right now, but what have they previously hired for? With COVID, this has obviously changed things quite a bit. Hiring patterns are a bit all over the place. But one thing to have a look at is, do they always hire for salespeople like in September? Or do they hire for new tech people in January every year because that's when their budgets renew? Let's look back at the data points from the organization. When did we last have live jobs with them? Because that can actually be another trigger event and a signal as to whether they'll be hiring soon in the future. The last thing I would do is research the businesses as well. I would have a look to see if they've had any new execs join the business. Have they had a round of funding? Have they released a new product line? Did a merger? Has there been some change in the organization? Something you can talk to them about, okay? And that's what I call kind of the analysis on the warm prospects. So finally, we get to the holy grail, which is cold prospects. So these are businesses that you've had no previous interaction with. So really, when we're looking at this data, how do we break down this huge pool of companies into more manageable, targetable actions? So one way of doing this, and something we mentioned earlier, is the funding rounds. It's a brilliant way to categorize these businesses and approach these businesses. As we know they're cash rich, they're looking to scale with that money, and they have low barriers to entry as they've got, especially at the pre-seed, seed, Series A kind of territory, no internal teams. They don't have PSLs at that kind of stage. And sometimes, seed and pre-seed don't even have recruitment partners yet who they can engage with. So it's a massive opportunity for you guys if you can identify those businesses to get in with them. Another way of doing this is to have a look for companies that are hiring for heads of roles. So you might not be an exec search recruiter, and that might not be your bag, you might be more mid-level, but generally those people hiring for those type of positions will normally be looking to build out a team. So if we take businesses hiring, head of marketing as an example, those organizations will generally be looking to build out that team in the coming months, okay? What I'd also do alongside that is look to see if there are any heads of candidates on job boards or potentially people who've said they're open to opportunities on LinkedIn. So this cuts both ways, as you know that these people offer a backfill opportunity as well. If they're still employed and they're actually looking for work, you can obviously approach their current employer as well to help them out with the upcoming backfill. But you can also follow that person to the new organization and know that they're going to want to instrument some change. They're going to look to make their mark. They're going to try and mold the team around them in the new role. The question I want to leave you with when looking at this new business part is how do you turn this into a process? How do you automate it? Too many organizations have processes that individuals follow, but not a company-wide strategy. So as a takeaway today, business owners, if you're thinking about the business development strategy of the organization, is to go away and build your own methodology and then roll that out across your business. And that is where we see, the biggest companies making an impact, because they have that company-wide method which everybody follows. So I wouldn't be head of sales if I didn't tell you a little bit about SourceBreaker. So a couple of things we've covered today we can definitely assist with. So SourceBreaker, our SourceBot technology can help tell you when your hot and warm prospects are hiring. We can give you access to the latest funded companies, startups, scale-ups, and show you if they're hiring as well. We can also see all of the live roles within a business. So it ties with that concerted strategy that we talked about, i.e., are you working with them in finance, not in tech, sales, etc.? If you're multidisciplinary, that is, or if you're working in one area, are you working across that whole department? One of the other things we can assist with as well is how to get in touch with those people. Have you got the right contact information, and have you got their details to get in touch? Cool. Well, I think that wraps everything up today, guys. I'll have a look to see if there's any questions in there. But yeah, thanks for your time, and hopefully speak to you soon. Cheers, guys.